We have roll call.
Al Whitcomb,
Here.
Dale Sagadish,
Here.
Sam Milkis,
Here. Okay, we set this time aside for public comment. John, do you have anything you want to comment on?
Al, I last year asked for a right to know concerning cast vote records, and it was denied. Yet Allegheny County gave their cast vote records with no problem. San Francisco puts theirs on their computer site, and I would ask that the board here do the same. I don't understand why we have cast vote records on our machines and we don't do anything with them. And the other thing I'd like to know is people ask for I'm going to say a hand recount. I don't remember, and I think they were from maybe Middle Paxton Township. They had the 3 people, they signed a petition, they paid their $50. And from what I understand, they had a court case for it or something. I don't understand that. It seems like the law very clearly says that you file this petition, you get 3 people in your precinct, and you're able to get a hand recount or a recount or whatever it was. I don't remember everything. But I never saw what happened to that. And I don't understand why we can't get cast vote records put on the machine so that people know that the election is fair and transparent. And I find that the election here is not fair and it's not transparent, especially transparent. I went to observe the logic and accuracy test. I wasn't even allowed in the room. I wasn't allowed to see what was going on. And I don't even understand what that proves. So I think we need to be more transparent here in Cumberland County.
So when you talk about having the ballots on the machine, what are you referring to there?
Ballots on the machine,
Referring
the cast vote record.
cast vote record. Yeah. What are you referring to there?
The machines have cast vote records so that you can tell whether the amount of ballots, it's a spreadsheet, is what it is.
Okay. So, anybody want to comment on any of this?
I can first comment on the petition for the recount that he referenced. I can't recall what municipality were those filed in Cumberland County, Bethany?
I believe it was Hopewell.
In Hopewell Township.
I didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak to what happened in Middle Paxton Township in Dauphin County, but those petitions were filed with the Prothonotary, and for whatever reason, Judge Guido denied them. I haven't read those decisions denying the petitions in some time, but they'd be publicly available documents via the Prothonotary's office if you have questions as to why the judge denied them in Cumberland County.
Well, my question would be, if I may, I believe, I don't know all these counties. I believe Luzerne County, the judge there ruled that they could do the recount or the hand recount or whatever it was.
I don't know. So you've referenced Luzerne and then possibly Dauphin. I know there were similar petitions that cited to various different reasons for the requested hand recount throughout the Commonwealth. And frankly, I only paid attention to the ones filed in Cumberland County. And I read Judge Guido's decision. It's been a couple months. I can't recall why he denied them. So it's a petition, like as in any court filing, Mr. Lencioni, it would be a petition specific allegation. And the answer to your question, I believe, would be in Judge Guido's decision, which is publicly available at the Prothonotary's office.
Why would that go to court?
Because the procedure in the election code, that what you just referenced with the petition and the payment of the $50, that process is outlined in the election code, and it specifies that those petitions, where they're filed and where those requests are made, is with our court system. That's not something that we develop. or rules that we make. It's in the statutes that all counties and everyone in Pennsylvania is obligated to.
Well, I read part of that and it didn't say anything about going to court. It just said you pay your $50, you get your people to sign it, and you get it in and you'll get your recount.
I apologize, I don't know
That's
what you
okay.
read, so I'm
just
afraid I
saying,
can't
that's why
answer.
I'm questioning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also other counties left it go. They were allowed to have the recount.
I feel like we may be missing several pieces of information.
Probably.
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. Anybody have anything, anybody online?
There's a CM with their hand raised.
Okay. Sia, you have a comment?
Hi, can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, my name's Caroline Macharaju, and I prepared some remarks on the voter rolls. I think they're a little too lengthy to get through, so I'm going to abbreviate these and email them to the commissioners and our state legislators after the fact. But I did want to say on record that I once again want to call attention to the dirty voter rolls in Cumberland County. In the fall of last year, 2022, I drew attention to dead people who remained on our voter rolls, some of which were deceased since 2015. After drawing attention to these dead people, the names were removed, but I continue to see areas where cleanup of our voter rolls is due, including more dead people. Among the approximately 160,000 active voters, now this is active, in Cumberland County, 3,540 last voted in 2016 and prior. 2 last voted as far back as May 1990, and a total of 44 people last voted in that decade, the 1990s. This is in addition to the 15,365 voters marked as inactive. And I should point out that almost 4,000 of these so-called inactive voters have no recorded voting history at all. And our county's records show voting history dating back 20 years. Simply stated, our voter rolls are not clean. I filed a right to know request in late December of last year, and I asked for a sample copy of the various address verification notices, as well as a list of who received them in 2022. And I guess I'll first draw attention to a notice of change of address form that my math showed that approximately 8,000 people received that form last year. And one thing that concerns me about that form is there's verbiage on it that says your registration may be canceled, but there's no deadline. It appears to me that they can remain on our voter rolls for years and years, and some have. Some show they last voted in November 1992. That's 30 years ago. I also received a list of inactive voters with what prompted their inactive status. Okay, on this list, there were approximately 7,400 voters who received a form called address verification notice. On this form, it gives a time window of 3 years where their registration will supposedly be canceled. I want to share another concerning find. I sorted this inactive list by date of birth, and dozens were born in the 1920s. I only took the time to search the top 3, and all were dead. There are obituaries posted online. Mary Lee Owens, who died in 2021. John Hurley died in 2017. Levi Troop died in 2020. I thought Levi's file was a little curious because his voting history was completely blank, except for when he was 97, he voted in the year 2018. So something must have fired him up that year. I don't know what. I share all of this to say our voter rolls need some cleaning. I do understand that our election office is doing what it's told. In my opinion, these dirty voter rolls reflect on our Department of State and ERIC. And it needs noted that there are now 5 states that withdrew from ERIC: Florida, Missouri, West Virginia, Louisiana, and Alabama. And news reports say Texas, Ohio, and Wisconsin might follow suit. I would like to ask what you can do to clean our voter rolls. Our election code suggests something called a voter removal canvass program, which appoints electors to canvass and visit homes, and it has a shorter turnaround time, a short-term reply deadline. to remove them from the rolls, in a shorter time frame. I would also ask that our county commissioners revise the county's notice of change of address form that goes to inactive voters and establishes a strict and shorter term deadline that will result in cancellations of those who moved out of the county. Again, many of them moved out of state. And for our state legislators, who I would like to forward these remarks to, I ask them to call on our State Department officials and question the value of ERIC, because the promise of clean voter rolls is not being fulfilled. And this comes with a hefty price tag, not the least of which is the voters' trust. Thank you.
For your comments. We can probably look into this for us.
So just briefly, I'll just say that everything she's mentioning here, they're all state programs that are part of the election code that we're required to follow. So the ABN notices, the NCA notices, the ERIC notices, the voter removal programs, they're all part of the Department of State and the election code, which we follow. We follow all the guidance and all the laws that state how and when and where and how we remove voters. So, she said a lot in that statement, but I've explained this to her multiple times through email, public meetings, phone calls, in person, how the process works, what the election code says we're allowed to do, and how we can remove voters. As far as her wanting the commissioners to update the NCA program or do anything with that, you can't. Unfortunately, the Board of Elections can't do that. It's part of the election code. I'm not really sure what else to say about that, because we've kind of gone round and round about this, and we're sort of stuck in what we are legally allowed to do as far as removing voters. Someone can be registered in this county for 100 years and never vote and still stay on the rolls, because as long as they have activity of some way, shape, or form, and it doesn't have to be voting, they will stay active. So if I send you a notice and say, hey, you haven't voted in 5 years, are you still registered here? What are you doing? Which is a notice that we send to voters. And they respond and say, yes, I still live here. Yes, I still want to be registered. I can't remove them just because they haven't voted. So our hands are tied when it comes to doing that. There are certain ways that you're legally allowed to remove voters from the rolls. And I certainly am going to follow that, because I'm not going to disenfranchise voters. So.
Thank you. Okay, and no one else online?
There is one other person.
Not raising his hand?
Yeah. It is.
The phone number, people can't raise their hand, so you have to ask them if they have any comments.
Okay. The other person is, what's the phone number?
Last for you.
They just.
I just asked if they wanted to unmute.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I allowed them to unmute if they would like to.
Hello.
Hello? You have a
Hi.
comment for?
My name is Charles. My name is Charles Wilson from Camp Hill. I'm just monitoring the meeting this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, no one else online?
Yes, sir.
All right, so we'll continue with the meeting. You all received the minutes of February the 16th. Can we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move to approve the minutes. Second.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and approval of appointment of poll workers. You all have that attached. Would you like to make any comment on that?
So just because some of you haven't been a part of a Board of Elections in a few years, I'll just give you a brief explanation. So these are the positions where we had vacancies in the judge, minority, or majority inspectors on a board. And we have found people to fill the rest of that term. So that's what these appointments are for.
This brings you up to the full.
Yes, they'll complete the full term.
That's great.
Yes, so these people are doing a great thing for us.
Yeah.
So they're all listed there, their precincts, the positions, and where they'll be working.
Good. So we need to approve that.
I'll move that we approve the filing of the petition for the appointment of to fill vacancies and referencing the various people listed in proposed petition.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, but now we need to have approval for moving Upper Island 7 back to Messiah. You want to tell us about that?
Yes, so during COVID, Messiah Village did not want to host a polling location, understandably. So we had moved to the township building, where we also have another polling location. Upper Island 6 is located there. So they were co-located, which worked for the time being, but luckily Messiah would like us to come back. So this is a request to move back to the original polling place. And we will send all the voters in that district a new voter ID card, letting them know that their polling place has now gone back to the original location.
Can we have a motion to approve that move?
I'll make a motion to approve. And second.
We have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Bethany, you have an update for us?
Yeah, just a couple of things. We are in the midst of processing all of our mail-in and absentee ballot applications. So far, we have 10,227. And 3,320 of those are Republican applications and 6,906 of those are Democratic applications. We are planning, our estimated date for mailing out ballots to those voters will be April 24th. A week earlier than we're required, and 3 weeks before the election. If we can do it sooner, we will, but we'll just see how it goes. And then we begin our voting machine training in 2 weeks, and then election school, of course, is the first week of May, which you all will be attending at various times.
Very good. Anybody have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, we have a report of executive session on March the 6th at 10 a.m. regarding pending litigation. And we also now have a request to go into executive session. Is there anything to come before this board before we go into executive session?
If I may interrupt, I don't think it's expected of this board to take any action after the executive session.
Okay,
So if the board would like, you can adjourn and then the executive session can be held afterwards.
okay, sounds reasonable. Can we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
We have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye. We're going to adjourn at this point and go into executive session.